What is going on, guys? Tuesday, May 10th, 9 p.m., which means Comic News Weekly coming at you live. Also available on replay and available wherever your audio podcasts are found. You can listen to the audio version. Just search for Simple Man's Comics. Great show for you tonight. We're talking some MCU stuff. We're talking upcoming movie, just wrapped production. We're talking about the box office for that smash hit, Multiverse of Madness. And then we have some new first appearances, not MCU related, but coming to an Archieverse near you. And then, as always, we have that surprise topic. Ryan's running a little late. He'll be in here to talk about that topic in a little bit. But again, if you have a topic that you want us to discuss on this podcast, let us know in the comments. We'll pick that up and we'll run with it and have a great discussion. Want to welcome people coming to the chat. But more importantly, let's welcome people from the panel from that Amazing with Brian McClay YouTube channel. We have Brian McClay.
What up, brother?
What's going on?
Just living. A little bit tired today. I think we're all Tuesday is always a little bit of that it's the hump day before the hump day.
Exactly. But I'm good because Thursday I'm off Friday, and Thursday I'm pretty much off because I'm playing in a charity golf tournament, which I'm not good at golf, but I like drinking beer and smoking cigars. So that's what I look forward to. Anyways, we also have from the Dank Show YouTube channel, we have Mr. Dan. What's going on, buddy?
What up? Good to be here. Tuesday, you know what that means. Just I do this show. That's what I do on Tuesday. And
yeah,
I look forward to that. I look forward to Tuesdays.
It's funny, like right before we go live, it's like everyone's sitting here looking like we just got done with a bender, all like tired. 2 days into the week, everyone's ready for the weekend. But we also have Mr. Button Pusher himself, Mr. Comic Man Andy.
What is good, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Can't wait to push some buttons for you guys and some big industry news this week. Can you believe this, man? David Hasselhoff has started referring to himself as only the Hoff, simply because it's less of a hassle.
Yeah.
That did not land like I thought it would.
That's one of the ones you should say to yourself in front of the mirror before you go and just tell the world.
I mean, I was thinking of Kanye West when you were talking about that and Ye and all that, and then like it wasn't funny, so I was just like, oh, it was reminding me of him and what?
Yeah, I just saw Contanker's chat. I want to talk about Free Comic Book Day here in a second, but we have some great topics to discuss. But before we do, Contanker's chat just also reminded me. Did you guys go to LCS for Free Comic Book Day or anything? Anyone go to Free Comic Book Day? I've noticed there's a lot of books, especially he said Midtown charged $50. That explains a lot because normally from previous Free Comic Book Days, Midtown would run that sale or do their Free Comic Book Day and those books would be gone. When I was looking through today, there's a lot of Free Comic Book Day books still available. We talked about that first appearance of Blade's daughter in Judgment Day, right? That's still up there. But yeah, I'm surprised.
Well, actually, I always felt like Midtown was pretty good with shipping costs, to be honest. Like, sometimes you can pay for just once a month shipping, and they'll send you multiple shipments, but not charge you any extra or whatever. Like, when things go wrong, they don't charge you extra. And so I was like, I'm a little surprised to hear that they charge that much for
Everything's going up in price, man.
That's true.
It sucks to say it, but there are things that are going crazy. It's nuts when people are, paying ridiculous money for produce and stuff they eat. I imagine that shipping is going to go up with it, right?
You're right, actually.
Well, I've noticed it just in shipping our own books.
I work in a cafe, and like produce costs have gone up like 30%, 40% on some items, and I'm just like, what? 30-40%? That's wild times.
Dan reminds me of, remember Living Color? What was it? The Jamaicans? I got 50 jobs, man. He's like, I work at a cafe, I do movies, I work.
Hustling, yo. Hustling.
Yeah,
always
fucking
hustling.
Yep, that's the way to do it.
Hustling for pennies.
But yeah, Ryan's going to join us here soon. Andy Tomlin, of course, he's moving houses there. Speaking of prices going up, real estate's right there with him. I think he spent like $900,000 on $150,000 house down there in Charleston. But yeah, everything's going nuts.
He wanted
What's
to
also going nuts money wise. Well, we'll get to that. I almost just blew that wrong topic. Rewind. I'm gonna take a mulligan on that one. But first topic we're going to discuss is James Gunn. He just wrapped production on Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So we're going to say goodbye to, at least we know, Drax, right? Because Batista came on and said he said goodbye to Drax after Guardians of the Galaxy. After this third movie, I'm sure there's also a rumor of this is the last movie with this team in it. So I don't know what changes we're going to get. But either way, they wrapped production. He posted on Instagram and Twitter picture of the cast. He said that he didn't have Zoe Saldana, I'm gonna probably butcher that name, because the picture he had was with an unannounced actress in that movie. I heard the actress's name was Amber Heard. I'm just kidding. But
Wow. Did her dog sit on a bee?
yeah, but this is what I'm super excited for, but we have to wait a whole nother year because I think it hits theaters, May 23rd, right?
It's pretty cool to see that final, that slate like that.
Oh, yeah. He said he broke out into tears because it was like the last shot of the production. Was it 100 days, 3,000 shots?
Man, that's crazy.
That seems to go pretty quick. They must do a lot of post-production or a lot of post-shooting stuff.
That's always the biggest part of it is post-production.
That's his girlfriend, though, right? The photo with Zoe Saldana or whatever.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the woman in that's the woman,
Yeah.
the Harcourt from
Yeah.
Peacemaker.
Yeah, who's gonna be? Yeah, that's his fiance,
A fiance, yeah.
and he already said that she's gonna be carried over into other DC shows that he's gonna be making. So,
I mean, I feel like this film is gonna be like the last vestiges of the phase 1, 2, 3 of Marvel. It's like that kind of last bit of that, or at least feeling the spirit of that. At least, I don't know. And I think Gunn really found his calling. I guess he's like so good with this genre. He's like, he knows how to take it like just seriously enough, and then not so seriously, like just right, and pushing uncomfortable things. And I just love that. I love that.
That picture right there is like my favorite thing in the world. Like that moment right there where you're all just chilling, a couple drinks are out, a couple things are being smoked. It's at the end of the night, you're just hanging out with all your people and you're laughing your ass off. That is a great picture right there.
Gunn's like the modern day Ron Howard, where it's like his brother's in all his movies. But that's not to not give him enough credit, because man, he does like all the mocap stuff for him. He does all the Rocket Raccoon acting in the little green suit to help. Yeah, how come we don't see Bradley Cooper or Vin Weasel there?
Well, they were never on set. Actually, that's the article says that.
Yeah, I know they just record voiceover, but
so do you guys think that we're gonna lose Rocket and Groot?
I do. If I'm thinking in terms of business, I wouldn't get rid of them because they're merchandise. They are a merchandising powerhouse. That would be very short. And Disney's all about merchandise. A lot of times, the movies don't even have to be that successful because the merchandise will make $1 billion, right? So merchandise is almost more important than the film in a lot of ways. Like that happens all the time with Disney stuff. So,
yeah, but they could have they have had spin-off animated series, but yeah, I don't know. And then what do you think is going to be the next Guardians team? Do you think they're going to go back to the classic with Sly Stallone and Ving Rhames and everyone?
No, I think they're going to make a new team, right?
Yeah.
That's what's exciting. To me, that's exciting. I know a lot of people are kind of bummed out, but I think it's exciting that they're making a new team. You get to learn new characters and all that fun stuff.
Wait, do we know that they're making a new team after this?
Well, he
Yes.
said this is the last Guardians movie with this current team. They've said that.
But this is Gunn's last Guardians movie.
And it's Batista's last.
That's
Right.
correct.
Chris Pratt's last.
But Batista said previously he would never work on a Guardians film without Gunn.
Yeah.
Because he was backing Gunn when Disney fired him. And
Yeah.
because he was one of the few people that had his back, you know.
Everybody had his back except Disney.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
Go medieval on his ass.
I'm looking forward to this movie. And like McClay said, this is a very heartwarming picture to see because the glimpse that we get of a lot of these people are on screen or in their work environments or when they're supposed to be putting on the utmost professional image for studios and all this other stuff. So it's very nice to just see friends and humans sitting there enjoying having a good evening and celebrating the wrap of this movie. And it adds a very human element to these individuals. So I just don't think of them as superheroes constantly, or, you know, it's nice to see the people here having a good time.
Who's the extra in the background in like the kitchen over Chris?
I was wondering that too.
But yeah, Batista's wearing a Nationals hat. Is he a Nationals fan?
Apparently, he is just a solid monster. I love his acting too. He's been a ton of fun. Like one of my favorite roles he's in is that Blade Runner role, Blade Runner 2040.
Yeah. He was excellent in Blade Runner.
Oh, God,
2049. Was it 49?
I think it was.
He was really good. I was surprised. And he used to say he used to be bad. He said it out, you know, and he practices and he tries really hard.
He even gives all the credit to Gunn because he said before him he was basically broke.
I mean, he's still keeping in shape. He's drinking a protein shake and a glass of water while all these other schlubs are drinking alcohol. You know, good for him. He's like,
that's why he said he's done playing drag. He's like, I'm getting too old for this to walk around. I think they gave him a shirt in this one because he said he's sick of walking around with no shirt on.
Did they
Really?
Yeah. I don't think he's in there the whole time with a shirt on, but yeah, they were showing set photos. But that's part of the reason why he's also said, yeah, I can't. I think he's 50, somewhere around there. He's like,
he's sick of the steroids. He's like, no more steroids for me. I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's that old.
When did he come into? I mean, when did he come into WWE? I forget. That's when like Triple H was freaking young too.
Yeah. Early mid-90s, maybe?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe early 2000s?
Yeah, it's the Attitude Era, but
well,
yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, Guardians and Black Panther 2 are the two main Marvel movies I'm most interested in seeing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of movies, though. Huh?
Dank has got ghosts.
Yeah,
Like,
I got ghosts. I'm not scared of them, but they don't stop bugging me anymore because I told them I'm not scared. And it's a pain in the ass.
Speaking of movies, though, oh boy, do we have a movie to talk about this time? Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness opens to a $450 million global portal, $265 million from overseas international box office. Now, this is pretty dope. More in just a second. Let me pull this up. There we go, because blasting past projections, Disney's and Marvel's Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness had a spellbinding weekend at the global and international box office. 49 material offshore markets. Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen star conjured $265 million for an estimated $450 million worldwide debut, including domestic. And we'll keep going into this. My favorite part of this is this was the first 3D movie locally where I live in over 2 years. and the numbers that they were saying in this article were actually pretty. There was a pretty heavy turnout for IMAX 3D. Now, IMAX being the brand of over where I'm at, I know that there's some other areas in the country where it's named a little bit differently, but I'm curious, and anybody else watching tonight, if this is the first time that they've seen a 3D movie in a couple of years. I think this is the first one across the world to hit 3D, is it not?
I can't do that 3D shit, man. I got migraines, and it just instantly sets me into a spiral. But that being said, I thought it was funny how like the 3D has been existent, and then we talked about it the other week, and you're like, oh, 3D? There's 3D? You were super stoked for it, but yeah, I don't watch 3D.
Yeah, they even you can't get 3D TVs at Best Buy anymore, like the huge craze was for. I haven't been to a 3D movie in a while either, but it's not that it bothers me. It's just I don't want to pay the extra $5 or $10 to see it in 3D because I'm just like, screw that. I'll see it in regular.
See, it was only like an extra $6.
But and at the time when I was taking my kids, I didn't want to sit there and try to watch the movie and listen to them bitch about the glasses and falling off their face or anything like that. Plus, I didn't really want to take a young kid to a 3D movie with eyes adjusting and still developing and stuff like that. But
Have you guys seen the 3D billboards that are in
like the Times Square, like the Boba Fett one and stuff?
Yeah. Check this out. If people haven't seen it, this is absolutely crazy. This is in Times Square, and it's a billboard. Let me play it, and just to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit of a glare on it, but when there's no glare on it, it looks super, super real and really badass. And you don't have to wear glasses for that. You know what I mean? So if that technology is getting that good, it'd be interesting to see if something happens. But beyond that, I think what Brian said is correct, where we don't even see the TVs in stores anymore. Like 3D it just feels like it's never going to take on.
Yeah, I kind of, it's got a special little place for me at the movie theater, just there at my local movie theater, being able to go and catch, like, I mean, for me, Doctor Strange in regular 2D, I probably would have given that like a B+ or a straight B grade, but because it had those effects and then I was able to sit, I was that much more entertained in that style of movie, and kind of gave it an A- was my opinion. But this is really interesting on the metrics when they go further in the article here, because on an international,
not to interrupt you, but I think Royal Clown in the chat has a good, IMAX 3D is a lot better than just your regular 3D type movie, because the way the screen's taller and kind of more concave, it kind of gives, to me, it's a better experience if you're going to see it in 3D.
Right. But this is where the metrics really speak volumes, that the people really came out for this one, because internationally and on a like-for-like basis, the opening weekend on Doctor Strange 2 is only 17% behind that of Spider-Man No Way Home. So either Spider-Man No Way Home underperformed when it released, or this is performing that well, but 126% above the Batman and 160% over the original Doctor Strange picture, which those are some pretty interesting metrics when you look at the time frames when the other movies came out and how they performed as well.
Yeah, but no one expected a big box office for the first Doctor Strange film, because unless you were a comic book fan, a lot of people didn't know who that was, and they've got to know that character from that movie, from the Avengers, Infinity War, Endgame, and it had a huge boost from No Way Home featuring Doctor Strange, so it kind of led into this one with... I heard also, I haven't seen it yet. I plan to see it, so no spoilers.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
But I've heard, people were upset over WandaVision continuity. They were expecting a little bit more continuity. I don't know if that's some of the comments that I've heard about Multiverse of Madness. But I did hear Tom Hanks dies.
Well,
what?
I know like it says it beat projections, but I don't know if you remember, like projections were up and down a lot, you know. And actually, I remember people projecting even more than this. At some point, they were projecting more than this. They were projecting over 200 million. And then like the early reviews started coming out, and then they started dropping the projections. Oh, it's good, and maybe not, maybe not. So it's kind of settling. Like, if the reviews were great, this would have done even better. You know, like I think it would have actually broken 200 domestic. But it was the reviews that I think held it back a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then apparently like a lot of the trailers revealed too much material. There was a report Kevin Feige was upset about that. He didn't know the marketing would reveal so much.
I think the biggest tell now for movies box office is what it does the second week. Because you're seeing a lot of movies with huge, like with big box office, and everyone's surprised. And there's like if there's a huge drop in the second week, then it's kind of telling of the movie as well. Of course, Black Widow got panned for that, and there was another movie recently. I don't remember if it was the Batman or not, but I'm excited for this. And the one question I have, since you guys saw the movie,
I didn't see it.
do you think, or not Dan, but Brian and Andy, you guys saw it, right? Do you think this is, especially Brian, do you think this is a good enough movie for, well, this is more Marvel, but Sam Raimi, should he be able to get another Spider-Man movie based off of this one?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Here's my thoughts on this movie without getting too crazy into spoilers. I think as a movie fan, it was good. It was a fun movie. As a Sam Raimi fan, it made it even a funner movie because it was really Sam Raimi. It was good Sam Raimi. It was the Sam Raimi you
I heard some
love.
people calling it Evil Dead 4.
Yeah, it totally felt. There was parts where it totally felt like that. They had every movie Evil Dead trope they had, and it was fun. It was fun. So I think it was great for Sam Raimi. He needed to hit it out of the park for this. So as filmmaking, I think Sam Raimi did great. Comic book fan in me though didn't like it. The comic book fan in me was like, I don't like where they're going. You know what I mean? The comic book fan in me is very cynical about this right now. So cynical that like I'm taking hits on it because I'm being honest. You know what I mean? It was very. They did a good job of hiding what they did, and they did a good job of showing what they did. They could have probably left out Professor X, but it still hyped it to such a high level, and then it felt like a rug pull. It really felt like a rug pull. But at the same time, it was a good movie, so I wasn't totally cynical of it. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I just need to take myself out of being a Illuminati fan, a Doctor Strange fan, a Marvel comic fan. I need to be an MCU fan.
I think that's the biggest challenge that Feige has right now, and I'm loving the We Are Venom 00 comments of like just enjoying the movie. But I think that's the problem Feige's created with the MCU is you have a tough balance now of continuity between all these storylines you've created within the MCU, and then you got to try to please the comic book fan, but then you're also trying to please the movie goer, just from a movie experience that might not give two shits about comics. They just want to see a movie that they know is probably about superheroes. So it's a fine line to kind of walk and get a good enough experience to where everyone enjoys it a little bit.
I think that's why I enjoyed it as much as I did, Brian, is I didn't have quite the same level of investment with continuity that you do in that area and kind of genre of Marvel and time frame. So I just kind of went into it a fan of Doctor Strange overall and sat down and I can definitely see where you're coming from on some of those things, but I have a little bit different investment or lower investment in the continuity, like I said. So it kind of just, some of it flies over my head.
But the Illuminati, it's for comic book fans. I mean, like the mainstream audience they're gonna be like, who are these random people, random weirdos that come and go? So you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't just like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
The things that had implications in the past don't have the same implications anymore.
That feels so cheesy to me. I feel like the writing has kind of gotten cheesy to a fact where you were excited about the multiverse to now you're like, they're going in a way with the multiverse that I don't like. You know, they're making it like, oh, it doesn't matter what happens to this character. There's 10,000 other ones.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
That's I'm not a big time travel, time movie person. Except for Back to the Future. But usually when it starts getting to, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm too simple sometimes to keep up with everything.
It wasn't even time based either, though.
Yeah,
I've said it months ago. Once you reverse death and you got time travel, that Endgame did. You can't go back, and you'll never feel the same emotional weight ever again because it can all be undone. And Sony, Marvel, Disney collaboration with No Way Home did really well. This is Marvel's effort, and so far, I don't know, because we all think Marvel's better than Sony, right? So then, in theory, they should have done better than No Way Home. But maybe they're not as unstoppable as we thought.
As long as Spider-Man's on the marquee, you're already guaranteeing yourself a certain box office, I think.
I got something to say that was very interesting to me. Somebody said it on a show. I can't remember what show, and I apologize to who said it, but it was along the lines of, if we don't get John Krasinski in the Fantastic Four movie, people are going to be fucking pissed. They're going to look at that as the ultimate troll. And if they did that to troll as a troll, that's like a whole different thing, because you're talking about people who love these characters. You know what I mean? There's people who are Fantastic Four nerds that are like so stoked about John Krasinski, and then we get him and
we want Jim Halpert, damn it.
On a side note, in terms of multiverse, Everything Everywhere All at Once is still number 5 in theaters after 7 weeks. It's actually raising up in the charts, and in the Monday box office, it was number 1. Like, on Monday's box office, right? It actually beat Doctor Strange. So the word of mouth, because people just think it's a good multiverse movie, as it is or whatever. That movie's like a sleeper hit. It's gonna soon be A24's greatest hit, and it's a true sleeper like we haven't had in a while, where it just keeps going. Like
it just proves that good writing is the key. It's always the key. Good writing.
Chris Nolan would be a good multiverse type director. I mean, with Inception, but I heard also he could be But Marvel likes to get those younger,
out of the box type choices.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still excited to see it. I might even try to go tomorrow after work. That's funny because I never know when I get off work. But
it was a good movie. It was a good movie. That's for sure.
And it's one I want to see in the theater. I'm still excited for Top Gun.
Yeah, I'm excessively excited for that.
But
I can't wait for Top Gun 3.
And I will say, from all the comments in the chat, I didn't hear anyone say that they did not like Doctor Strange.
The first one I watched it and I liked it the first time, and then I watched it again and I was like, this movie doesn't make any sense. Oh, these actors are so good that I didn't realize this was not a great movie. Like, cause it's like a lot of these Academy Award winning British actors, the highest caliber, and they're just like saying these lines with so much gravitas that I just bought into it. And I didn't see this one, but
there was one. I saw one meme where what's her name? Rachel
McAdams.
Yeah. She's in like 5 different movies that deal with time now. She always plays like the love interest to someone, and there's like 5 different movies of time travel.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting.
But
sorry about that. I was spacing on that. I was thinking about Top Gun. I don't know why. So in other comic-based news, we have Archie news. New characters in the Archie world happening at your local comic shop soon. And I love how Archie does first appearances. Archie is one of the weird comic companies or that does first appearances in weird books, like in one shots. You get a lot of one shots, first appearances with Archie. And so now we're getting two new characters, starting off with Eliza Hahn, who will be showing up in Archie and Friends Summer Loving, a one-shot by Dan Parent and T. Franklin. Of course, the great Archie artist, Dan Parent. So it'll introduce the biracial, pansexual Eliza, who is the brains behind a major tech corporation as a love interest for Harper Lodge, cousin to Veronica. So there you go. And then a couple weeks later, we get another new character in July in the Betty and Veronica Friends Forever Summer Surf Party. We get African-American teen coding savant Stacey Banks, who will shake up the genius hierarchy of Riverdale, normally ruled by Dilton Doilies. What are they making these names so hard for, man? Mechanical know-how. Stacy's digital savvy results in the creation of an online word game sensation that creates waves in Riverdale. So there you go, Archie fans. Go pick up your Summer Lovin' and Summer Surf Party one-shots for two new characters that guaranteed are going to sell on the secondary market for a short period of time. Seems like our new characters in Archie always have a nice little bump immediately after they get put out. So if you're a speculator, maybe this couple characters to spec on, sell quickly, put a couple copies away, and you never know what they're going to turn into.
Can you pull up the Can you pull up the cover photo again? Yeah. Okay. I was going to say it'd be even better if it had like, the traditional Archie innuendo type cover.
Yes, I was about to say leave it up there. Let's take a look and see if we can find any good innuendos in here. I know, Betty. It's to attract a boy who does. Veronica, you don't surf. Oh, okay. Beach or bust? No.
Lame.
Yeah. How many people do you think read Archie that are actually the people that they're trying to write for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how many teens age 13 to 19 are reading Archie?
I don't think as much anymore, just because of the way technology is. Archie was my gateway into comics. Like, my parents you need to start reading more, and that's what was on the spinner rack next to the cashier at Basics grocery store. So I was like, how about this? And I started reading like Double Digest and stuff.
Next to Playboy.
And but yeah, I don't know. I don't
think
read Archie comics anymore.
I think the Archie audience is actually younger. I think it's younger, and Archie is still available at like every bookstore. It's actually still on the newsstand. There's still newsstands of Archie, right? So, I mean, in some sense, do they have like maybe the biggest circulation of any comic? Like, what is their circulation?
I do know, don't order from their site because their shipping sucks.
But I see Archie in more places than any other comic book. Like, to this day, and I'm like, because I still go to newsstands looking for a comic. Like, I'm like, are there still like, is anyone? Because that Marvel issue 1000 or whatever, I saw that in newsstands, when they did that. But I don't know. Will Archie outlast everything?
I think it could. I don't know what their sales numbers or print run numbers look like, but.
It's and they make it disposable too, right? I mean, they make it really cheap and big, and almost like the Asian model, the Japanese model of comic book printing, which theoretically it's more sustainable and viable than the way we're doing it right now, or at least the American industry. But I don't know. It's Archie's an interesting beast.
Yeah, and then they have the newer Archie series one, right? The one that was like Mitch just kind of alluded to with the Riverdale crowd. But who is it? I want to say Brian Wood. It wasn't Brian Wood because that's me. But The guy that wrote the like the newer, more adult Archie. I think there's even one that's coming out tomorrow.
Bendis? Was it Bendis?
It
No.
might have been.
Was it Bendis? Might have been Bendis.
I still like Mitch said, I still like the older, more classic tongue in cheek. But there are innuendos in there. I don't know if there still is, but when I was reading, there definitely was. But
I
I was too naive at the time to know.
I would love to find the analytics on sales for Archie to see all those numbers, man. I think that'd be very interesting.
Stacey Banks kind of reminds me of a Archie Ironheart. Just the whole STEM related, and we'll see. But like you said, though, Archie, you usually, when you see first appearances, you definitely see a bump, and then as people get hold of, there's a first appearance, you'll see that short raise, especially in secondary market. But it doesn't seem like it sustains very long. But then, who knows? If the character grows or shows up, you start seeing bumps down the road off and on.
Yeah. Well, Archie comics is definitely fun to collect for non-Archie fans and Archie fans alike. So usually most people that I know only collect them for the innuendo stuff, but there are a lot of fans out there. And Dan Parent is one of the most beloved creators in comics. So that says a lot.
And it goes to a lot of cons, and his booth isn't ever very busy, and he's a great person to talk to.
Yeah.
He even had some of the, what was the horror one? The horror Archie, nah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It had like the Peepoy variants and stuff.
With the Franco Villa covers.
Yeah. But those were some great ones, and then they had like kind of like the spinoff with the Jughead horror, but yeah. And Stadium Comics, like we were talking about before the stream, Stadium Comics, they always have great exclusives for Archie Comics.
Yes.
And Chip Zdarsky wrote for Archie.
That's right. Afterlife, Archie Afterlife. Thanks, Pat.
There it is. Yeah.
my brain shuts down. I'm so bad. Archie Afterlife. I still have a bunch of those covers. That was actually a great series, by the way. But it is true. Dan Parent loves his fans. And like I said, if you see him at a con, definitely go up and talk to him. He always has great prints. He even has prints for stuff that gets rejected from Archie Comics. So ask him about some of those. Not like it's super risque, but it's just a little bit risque. But,
yeah.
Ryan, welcome.
Howdy. Howdy, folks. Good day, y'all.
Yeah. So, I'm glad you joined us because it's your time. What's your surprise topic for this week?
Good Lord. Well, jumping right up in there. So, did y'all have any kind of conversation around the Strange? Who here saw Strange?
Yeah, we had
just got done. Yep.
Andy saw it. Dank
That's
saw
it.
it.
Those
No,
two
not
saw
me,
it.
not me.
Dan and I haven't.
Just them two.
Just them two. Would y'all rate it, by the way?
Out of
It was
10.
good.
A, B, C, D.
B.
I gave it an A-.
Do you feel that the trajectory of the movies is going up, or do you feel like it's panned off, or it's they've hit the peak and it's starting to diminish? Sorry, I'm trying to get to build some context of kind of what y'all thought about the movie and where things are at.
I'll say, what?
I think it's diminishing. I think they're getting lost.
They're getting lost in the lore.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it, and I agree. I'm just kidding.
Well, what do you think, Andy? What are you saying?
I think just based on what I saw, I have a little bit more hope than I had going into it. But it's too early. It's too really early to tell. Like we're talking about like Gunn with his last Guardians of the Galaxy, this last iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy. There's so many things about to change. It's hard to tell whether or not it's going to change for the better for the MCU.
What's the next handoff? Does it hand off to Miss Marvel, the show, or?
Yeah, I think so. Or Thor.
Miss Marvel in June and Thor in July.
Dave, did you see a Moon Knight?
Yes, I did watch Moon Knight.
And how about Brian?
Yeah.
I haven't watched like the last episode yet.
Oh,
So what did you feel about those?
Terrible.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the quality for me or if it's just oversaturation where it's just constantly. There's always something Marvel, and to keep up, just kind of watch it. Sometimes I don't feel like watching it at the time. I want to watch it when I'm ready to. But it's a double-edged sword because at one time I'm like, man, it's great to have all this comic book content, and then sometimes it's like I can't keep up with it all.
So, Clay, do you have kids? I can't remember if you have kids.
No.
Okay, Andy, you have kids, and Brian, you have kids. Dank?
no children.
So my question is kind of around the kids thing. You saw, and probably Andy could probably talk to this, but you saw Doctor Strange, and it was, you know, it's a Marvel movie, it's a comic book movie. Did you take your kids to see it?
No,
Would you feel comfortable taking your kids to see it?
not Doctor Strange 2.
Okay.
What made that Sam Raimi movie so Sam Raimi and good is what made it what I wouldn't want to show my 5 or 6 year old right now. It's PG-13 for a reason. And actually there were some people that were debating on whether PG-13 was strong enough, I think, on social media.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I skimmed over last week because I can't really quite remember. I don't know if they meant that it should be graded a little bit, or not graded, but rated a little bit lower or rated a little bit higher. But I got the feeling after watching it, yeah, I probably wouldn't even bring an 8 or a 10-year-old there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way I felt. Everyone has different sensitivity to things, and I think that when you look at the Moon Knight series, it was very cool, but it still dealt in some areas that I typically really wasn't that comfortable in. And then Doctor Strange got even more into that realm, if you will, and I think that's where the rating system, or where the rating might be questioned. And it seems like there's an innocence lost in the Marvel stuff nowadays, where Marvel used to feel real innocent. It used to feel kind of like you could watch a Marvel movie or watch that type of movie and feel like it's a superhero movie, or now you might question it more. So do you think that they're delving into a demonic side more a little bit much, or does that even matter, or does that even tip the scale for anybody?
Actually, I think what's going on is the MCU is basically they're taking 60 years of continuity and jamming it into 10 years, and you're being presented 60 years worth of story in 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. But those 60 years of worth of story, they did start out for children, but as the comic readers aged up and no new readers entered in, all the stories were starting to be written for 40-year-old men, basically. And Civil War, is included in that, right? So a lot of, in the comic book history, in the publication history, it was written for adults. It wasn't really written for kids because they knew who the audience really was, right? So this is an inevitability. So I don't know why I don't know why they're having troubles seeing this coming, because it's already happened in the comic book industry. We've already seen the loss of readers and why, and then they keep writing for adults, and then kids are not really, there's too much continuity, they can't get involved anymore, and it's too dark for kids to really understand. It's exactly what's happening in the movie. This is history repeating itself. So I don't know why people are acting surprised. And then the reversal of death, and adding since Death of Superman, death has never been permanent anymore since the Death of Superman, and it's sort of somewhat ruined all death in comics after that. And then they did it in the movies. It's like this already happened. And the Civil War plotline and Identity Crisis plotline, they match plotlines in Watchmen, which were Alan Moore's critique of superheroes and his final say of what this genre can ever do. To him, this was the be all and end. This is as far as you could push the genre, Watchmen, right? Mm. And then Marvel and DC executed the plots because they wanted more readers, adult readers, to get into the gritty stuff But they've sort of they've made their story world so hard to work with that they have to keep constantly rebooting and then trying to find that groove back and then they're repeating it in the movies. But it's happening on such a faster scale that it might feel jarring, like, oh, now they're leaving out my kids or whatever. But in the terms of comic books, this happened over 60 years, but now in the movies, it's happening so fast that I think that's why it's so jarring.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. And if you look at a lot of the collectors nowadays, they are our age group and whatnot, and that's what I think where they're trying to get people to the younger. What can they do to get the younger crowd to read? But man, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's some of those aspects I'm sensitive to, and so when I was sitting there watching the movie, like I won't go see it again because I just don't want to be exposed to some of the things that was discussed inside the movie. And there was a couple of times I'm like, man, maybe I was gonna go ahead and just bounce from here because I kind of figure out I kind of know what's going on. But I did, and I looked through it out, and I'm like, man, there's no way I can feel comfortable with a kid, maybe a teen. I mean, it's depending on the individual and the household, of course. And they're reaching for. It seems like if you look at all the different things, they're getting darker and darker. And I don't know if it's absolutely necessary to have to go that route, but maybe so.
It's absolutely necessary. Just like Dank said, if they're going to follow the storylines and cram 60 years into 10 years, it's absolutely necessary for them to do them. Otherwise, they're not going to stay true to the original content by any stretch of the imagination. So that's kind of, I get what you're saying, but they're going to have to.
Yeah, and like We Are Venom, I'd like to, but I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to get into any of the topics that was actually in the movie. So I'm really trying to be careful of spoilers or anything like that. But like even with Moon Knight, I really enjoyed it, and it was cool to like learn some of the Egyptian lore. And I actually have a friend that knew that stuff really well, and he was able before the show came out. He says, "You should see this. You should see this. You should see this." And it kind of played right along with what he was saying, my buddy Zach. But that's it's just like this afterlife, afterworld mentality. I mean, there's a lot of books too that are more adult driven, but you would think that if they're trying to get as many sales as they can and try to pump as many people through, are they really saying, okay, we're just going to aim for folks that have the pocketbooks versus the parents and the kids, because they're trying to leave the kids behind a little bit.
Oh, what? So wait, what about the Batman though? So I feel like the Batman is even more not for kids than the MCU ones, right?
The last one?
The Batman. I don't know. Did kids like that movie? I haven't heard of any kid. Did kids go watch the Batman?
Yeah. So to your point, that one is more adult feeling, and the fact that the story is more adult.
So why is only Disney getting the flack for this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is it because you rely on Disney as the child-friendly brand?
No, it's because they're the ones that are they're the ones that have delved so deep into the darker aspects of the comic book writing. The very your Darkhold and stuff like that.
You're talking about like
in a movie iteration of it.
Here's the thing that I think that we need to kind of realize is that one, kids nowadays are exposed to things at a very young age. Like some of us might have never seen a naked lady until somebody's friend brought a Playboy to school. Now kids are seeing even worse at 6 years old because they're being handed a phone. And then on the second level, I think that also a lot of people nowadays, especially in the West, are so much farther away from any type of biblical world. You know what I mean? So I definitely think we're going to see that type of stuff in movies and shows. We've been seeing it's been changing for years. So I don't think they're even thinking about that anymore. They're the whole morals of trying not to show anything that seems satanic or evil or this and that. they don't care about it anymore. That's like codes. That's the comics code and the motion pictures code. That was in the 40s, and we're so far from that. And not meant, I guess, mentally, or in our thoughts on religion and stuff. We're so far from that right now that it feels like we're 200 years away from it, yet alone 60. So I don't think that they even think about that anymore. I don't think they care about that anymore. And by they, I mean people who are making movies and making entertainment. They don't care about trying to hold those values.
Brian, like, what, I mean, like, like with, you have a couple young boys and whatnot, and they're, I see them on social media. They're pretty cool, and they see me. But I don't know how comfortable you'd be. Are you going to take them to see a Doctor Strange 2 movie, or would you wait to see it first and then take them?
I'd wait to see it first and take them. But as a parent, I don't have. There's a very gray area as far as what I let them see and don't see. I think it's also the context, the way stuff's presented, because I'm not as restrictive as my parents were, kind of allude to what Brian said, and they do see a lot, and they think they think we can't hear them, and they're downstairs yelling stuff that,
I read Preacher when I was 13, and I read Watchmen when I was 13, and then I thought, man, they were so good, and they taught me so much about life before I experienced it. They got me ready for life, to be honest, in a lot of ways, that I would buy them as gifts from my other cousins that were turning 13, and then their parents were like, oh no, this is no good, and they were like putting it, they canceled it basically, like, and put it away, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess there's some things in it, but that's life, like, and they've done research on this, where if you talk to kids about pretty dark stuff, that is happening, that does exist in the world, it doesn't necessarily make them do it, actually.
Right.
In fact, in some ways, it makes them like less afraid of it and not do it, because they don't feel alone in understanding it, and alone in depression, suicide, stuff like that. Like, you can talk to kids about that kind of stuff, and they're not gonna just go and do it necessarily. But if they ever get in a bad place, they won't feel like it was a secret, hidden. I'm alone. I don't know who. Like, putting it into the light almost makes it less scary and dark. And to be honest, I think the prosperity gospel in Christianity is the most satanic thing there is. Like, I'm just, because that's what Satan's all about. I don't know.
And so I come from, I played metal for 20 years. Like, I've hung around metal, and that always has that kind of aura around it. And so, like, I know how to, I know how to weave into what I will listen to, what I won't listen to. But on another note on that, I mean, if you look at a lot of the Disney stuff, I mean, there are, like, the Disney cartoons and whatnot. There's Fantasia and all this, like, tripped out, like, stuff. It's like, it's really been fed to everyone for quite a while, but it just seems like now it's they are pushing the envelope on some of the stuff, and if they can make it more realistic. I'm not trying to try to sway anyone one way or another. I just thought it was interesting when I was watching it, and now I am a dad. From a dad's viewpoint, I was like, man, I don't know if how some people would feel on their kids on some of it, but
this is a very similar conversation to in the 90s when the X-Files were pushing the envelope with the occult and satanic episodes, and one of the most famous episodes, Home. If you guys remember, look that up, that episode of X-Files. That was very controversial back then, so it only kind of makes sense that we're kind of socially revisiting this a little bit as things change.
Plus, the people that have the most problems with stuff like that are the people that either don't have kids or are too old and are basically virtual signaling on behalf of the parents that are like, let me parent my kid my way, and I'll take care of it.
And I was just saying, bro, like, from it feels like right now, and as far as Marvel goes, that they're in a kind of a darker area, and then I wonder where the next thing they'll pivot to will be, like, what will be the next because it'll get
It'll
old.
be Dazzler.
Yeah, hey, but you know what though? The MCU has been promoting like a military industrial complex, like a superhero military industrial complex all this time, and kind of like rationalizing warmongering, right? So I think it's almost their due diligence to go deeper into what that really means. Like, what does it mean when you sanction murder, and like it's okay to murder people? Like, cause in the Avengers movies, if you look carefully, they murder people. They murder a lot of people, and like you can gloss it over, and then I watch little kids being like, yeah, to solution everything is murder everyone, fight and murder, and I'm like, oh shit, is that all you're learning from these stories? Like, but if you go dark and you like break it down and deconstruct, what does this really mean? That actually might be helpful, because
sometimes you got to give children credit, man. They're not as ignorant as people think they are.
Yeah.
Just have the conversation and talk through it with them afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's conversation, and it's having that communication with them and whatnot. Yeah. But I just was like, when I was watching, I was like, huh, this is pretty tripped out. But yeah.
My nephew, he loves me because I don't lie to him.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell him the truth about it, but I'm not like brutal about it, but I frame it in a way that he'll understand, but I don't hide anything. And I think
if you talk to him and treat them kind of like adults, they mature a little bit quicker.
Because they will be adults, and guess what? They're gonna remember. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna remember you talk down to them like they're fucking stupid when they knew better, and they're gonna remember and resent you when they're old too, because they're like, you thought I was fucking stupid? You thought I didn't know what was going on? Like, I knew what was fucking going on. I knew you guys were like, because kids are, they're very smart.
So I'm always looking for other ideas. That was just an idea that kind of came up, and I was playing with a couple ideas, and that was one that was on.
Hey, it's a good. We had a nice, lively discussion.
Yeah, we found out you're a bad parent. I'm just kidding.
Damn.
I'm kidding.
Savage.
I'd never say that about someone unless they actually were. But also, great discussion going on in the chat. And again, if you guys have a topic to discuss in here, even we can discuss it. And if you even want to come on and discuss it with us, let us know for sure. Just put it in the comments. But with that,
let us know some other ones for next week. I don't want to. Always, it's just supposed to be community voice, so I'd love to have more interaction on it.
Yep. But tomorrow's new comic book day, fellas. Where are you guys picking up? To me, it's a light week. McClay, what are you getting?
The book of the week to me is based on cover and cover alone.
Oh, I know
and that is the Halcyon Legacy #3 Asajj Ventress cover.
Ooh.
And it is awesome, and that is why I say make sure you pick this up, and I haven't even ordered one. So
this is cover price too, Brian. I got my pull list for my LCS, and all the Halcyon Legacy books this week are all $3.99.
Oh man, this is gorgeous. This is absolutely beautiful. And not only that, there are I think the Spawn black covers, shouldn't they be coming out sometime soon? I don't know if they're coming out this week or what, but this, and then another really, really cool cover and book this week for me is Planet Comics #5.
Ooh.
Yeah, love this cover. Feels like an old school Dave Stevens style cover. It's got the mushrooms in it. Anytime there's mushrooms and aliens and hot chicks, I'm in. So from Antarctic Press, putting out the Planet Comics stuff. Planet Comics #5.
We got Andy.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff, Brian. A much lighter week than I've anticipated in the past, thankfully, because I've made some changes in my collecting habits, and hopefully those changes stick for the next 30 days, and the new changes become habits, focusing more on getting my reading done and my reading caught up, and less on collecting variants this summer, the rest of this year. And I'm stalling as I'm trying to remember. There's a couple of really good releases. Star Wars Halcyon Legacy, like McClay was saying, I can't wait to read that and see where they're going with that, because that's been kind of an interesting I don't feel like there's been something from Star Wars that has been like this with a little bit of story hopping and like deeper lore in some areas. So that's kind of been fun. 8 Billion Genies is also out, #1 tomorrow. And I've heard really good things about that. In the preview, people were pining over at C2E2 last year. That preview that was out did really good. I know a couple of friends.
What was it?
8 Billion Genies from Image.
And Charles Soule or Soule, who does a lot of the Star Wars books, actually.
Mm-hmm.
He writes Star Wars books, I think. Right.
And there's a really cool cover homage on that. If you find it, McClay, there it is, right next to Farmhand.
Yes.
Yep. Right in the very middle of all these covers, if you look down, is a cover homage for, I believe, was it Curse Words?
Yeah.
That's
super pretty cool. Wow, that's funny. I love when they do that stuff. They throw back to their old stories. They did that for a while with Wicked and Divine, where people would do Wicked and Divine covers.
There's a Wicked and Divine Image First coming out tomorrow.
Yep. That's a good cover, too.
Actually.
Jenny Frison.
Yeah, Frison. Oh, man.
Yeah,
those are
a
my
lot
two
of good
for the
stuff.
week.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, 8 Billion Genies was one of my picks too. Red Room Trigger Warnings issue 3, because I just love the Red Room one shots. Also Frank Facetta's Death Dealer issue 1.
Hold on, we got to go through these covers real quick, man. Look at these covers.
I don't even know if like this is gonna be good or not, but I always like Frank Frazetta always created this incredible fantasy world, you know, and like to explore it and delve into it. I'm surprised. I don't know how many times they've done that or not done that, but of course you should create a Frazetti verse or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and you know, I know the Death Dealer. He's like, it's so iconic, Frank Frazetta stuff. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if this is gonna be any good or not.
Ooh.
But
Look
yeah,
at
the
this one.
covers, you know,
Wow.
incredible.
Dang. There's a cover homage in there as well. Right on the horse.
Right
facing
there,
the
yeah.
left. Yeah,
It's
that's an
the
homage or
Frazetta
something.
variant.
I mean, I'm surprised it's
That's
not.
actual Frank Frazetta right here.
Yeah.
This is his actual stuff.
Golly.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
surprised it's not from a bigger publisher. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because this seems like an obvious.
Well, it's his daughters, right? That own the rights to his stuff.
Sarah.
Oh, she owns this company.
Yeah.
Here's a Delato. Look at the Delato.
Ooh. Mikey likey.
That's awesome, dude.
This is perfect. This is right up Delato's alley, so to speak. With that,
There's a 1 in 30 virgin variant for the Delato.
Like, if this is good, if it's actually well written, I think this will just go crazy. I think it's one of those books that if it's good, it's gonna do really well. And Jenny Zero, Volume 2, Issue 1. I enjoyed Volume 1.
What is it, Dank?
Jenny Zero.
Okay.
She's sort of like a fuck up mech pilot. The daughter of a famous mech pilot, and
All the way to the left.
she's like an alcoholic fuck up, but she's a mech pilot, and they need her to fight giant monsters and stuff. So, yeah, and I like that. I like that it's like an unreliable kind of fuck up, and because I'd rather read that, because you know, people that pilot mechs are so, and she's a celebrity and she hates it and stuff like that. But yeah, I like that. I don't know, because I feel like it's a nice twist on the whole mech, because there's so many kaiju things now. We're inundated with kaiju.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of kaiju.
Kaiju's so hot right now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's. I think that's it, pretty much.
that sounds like a fun read.
Yeah, it is. It's good. It's decent.
So, that Death Dealer painting, the original, the original looks, I mean, beautiful. But somebody wrote in the chat that he drew that when he was 8. And I would love to find out if that's true. I'm looking at the Death Dealer. Let's see here. The first Death Dealer comic book was published in 95. I'm trying to see if it says like when he first drew that, because he drew it in 73. The painting was used on the cover of Molly Hatchett's debut album in '78. So I don't think he painted it when he was 8. Maybe, yeah, man. It was 1973 when he painted it. So
Oh,
cool.
they did it in '95.
Yeah, they did do a comic book. Oh, okay, I'm just joking. I was like, holy shit, man, that would be amazing if he painted that when he was 8.
It wasn't connected to heavy metal or anything.
No. The original?
Yeah, '95 thing.
95 was Verotic. The company
I remember
Verotic.
them.
Yeah.
They made like books
Danzig.
that were a lot of nudity.
Yeah, it was a comic company started by Glenn Danzig, who
Yep.
wears Uggs and has a tramp stamp. Don't believe me? Go check out the podcast.
And he shows up on Aqua Teen now and then. The Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Would they rename that company to Boundless?
Yeah.
Ryan, what are you getting tomorrow?
Tomorrow's all indie. I don't ever say that often, but Crossover is going to be coming out tomorrow, so that's been awesome. That's come out, and Heavy Metal Drummer.
Yeah, the crossover looks actually pretty cool. That new cover is really
That kind of like tripped out looking one.
Well, this one, the comic book one is excellent. Look how good that corner box looks.
Yeah.
Who did this cover? Who is this cover? This is
Splash of Blood.
I don't know who did it.
Shaw?
Jeff Shaw. Yeah, that is gorgeous, man. Really good.
Hickman did a variant.
And then the Heavy Metal Drummer looks amazing too. Let me find that.
The covers are pretty cool on that one.
Yeah.
They always have really cool covers though.
Yeah. This is definitely a series that people love.
It's a trip, man, for sure. It's like a trip out. Like it's a trip.
There's your hand cover. You always got to have a hand cover in comics.
It's funny. I made a comment on Twitter about Mr. Cates's hat, and I never in my life I've had so many. He's got like an army of people that protect him. I was like,
the advocates, man.
Advocates. Yeah.
I guess, man, they're on guard. On guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Heavy Metal. Have you read that, McClay?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's funny.
It's so cool. It's
just,
It was. I didn't know what to expect, and it's been. I look forward to that one all the time. It's been a while since Crossovers come out too. It's been like I think 2 months. I think I don't know unless I missed one.
I have a cover pick, a reader pick, and my pick of the week. My cover pick. Well, I guess you say 2 cover picks, but it's the same title. That Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood #1, the Chris Bachalo and the Jeff Deckel variants.
Yeah, this
all the covers are pretty cool, but
yeah.
That's Bachalo?
No, that was Sienkiewicz.
The red one is Jeff Deckel.
Yeah, this is the Deckel.
How many do you think that Moon Knight, because of the series, is going to become a
top right is the Bachalo.
There we go.
It's going to become like a more sought after book.
I think after this series will be less sought after, actually.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's gonna come back, right? So we'll see the second go around.
Is it?
Well,
Well, they said he's gonna be in the MCU more. It might not be.
I thought it's pretty interesting that we see this again, like the Bird City Comics. Shout out to Bird City Comics. They did.
Who did that one?
This is Scon, I think. Is this Scon? Yeah.
Scon. I love Scon's work.
Yeah.
The show made him like a lot more overpowered, right, than the comic.
Yeah.
Like he's just not that strong in the comic. He's like
I never read the comic before.
he doesn't have he's just the TV show made him like way more powered, like in.
My reader pick is 7 Secrets 17. It's the penultimate issue.
Oh.
Tom Taylor's been doing fantastic on that series. So
penultimate, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Here's a cover B.
You got to pick up any free comic book days?
And then my pick of the week is Boom, also with Grimm #1.
Grim.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
That-
everybody's been talking
I read
about
the
Grimm.
first. I've read an advanced PDF of that first issue, and it's fantastic.
Oh.
You got a female Grim Reaper. There's a guy at the beginning of the story who dies, so she's taking him back, and he's upset because he was trying to patch up his relationship with his significant other, and he's dead. And then he ends up stealing her what do they call that? Scythe.
Scythe.
Scythe
Penultimate, second to last. I'm just
Because you
answering
need
a chat
that
question.
to go back. So he's back at watching, and she comes back, catches up with him. He's like, "Can't hear you." And then some crazy stuff happens at the end, which leaves you on a little cliffhanger. But I'm not doing enough justice. Great first issue, and there's some great covers of that. I actually like the Del Mondo cover better than like the Jenny Frison covers, but the Jenny Frison covers are great also. That's the top right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And of course you got Jay Lee covers as well. Jenny Frison.
Stephanie Phillips is the writer.
Yeah, she's great. She does great work.
So definitely recommend picking that up. It's a great read.
Cool.
I want to. There's just a lot of similarities to. It's like Boom is trying to strike fire or strike lightning again, capture lightning in a bottle again. This is screams. There's just a lot of similarities with this release to the last couple of big releases with them.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
mean,
think
another Jay Lee cover that looks almost eerily the same as the Something's Killing the Children one.
story wise, this is to me most similar to Lila Starr, The Many Deaths of Lila Starr.
Ramby.
I left this pick out because I kind of knew somebody else, But,
I did that with the Red Room.
The Red Room. Actually, I also left out Bunny Mask in case, but I forgot about the Bunny Mask. I was gonna the follow up.
See,
It's
this I'm So Punk. Just hate the shitty guy who lives above you and won't stop listening to Nirvana. Can't stand your friend's boyfriend whose stick and poke black flag tattoo was done wrong. Tired of being asked to pay $20 to see a set in a basement. This 20-page collection of work from 2017 to 2019 is for you. I'm So Punk. Interesting.
Who's doing that? There's a Sex Pistols TV series. Is that Hulu or FX or?
That's a great question. I don't know. I didn't even look
Seen
into
the
that.
previews
I think
for it,
that's
too.
Hulu, and that's directed by Danny Boyle.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome.
That's why it looks kind of crazy. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. That's very cool.
So
You know-
there's our picks for New Comic Book Day tomorrow. Let us know what you guys are picking up. Some people have put in the chat, but that's just gonna leave us with one more thing. What you got, McClay?
All right. So a lot of cool things happened over the last couple days for me. One being that I got to interview probably a week ago, about a couple weeks ago, I got to interview my favorite guitar player, one of my favorite all-time guitar players, Jeff Irwin from Will Haven, and that kind of turned into something special, which is an interview on the podcast with Max Cavalera, which was absolutely amazing. Yeah, so I got to interview Max Cavalera. It's absolutely unreal, the stories he tells. You guys can go find it. Go to my YouTube channel, The Amazing with Brian McClay. Go down and you'll see the homies. You'll see the podcast. I'll also put this on there for you guys just to watch it on The Amazing. Man, it was really cool. For those of you guys that don't know, Max Cavalera was the singer of Sepultura, and he's also the singer of Soulfly, Cavalera Conspiracy, Nail Bomb. He's been in a lot of crazy stuff, and he tells stories about Nirvana, Dave Grohl, Kurt Cobain, the Deftones, Chino, Al Jorgensen, who else? Lemmy. He tells some crazy stories about Lemmy, and it was awesome, you guys.
Wow.
So if you guys
How
are
long was the interview?
The interview was about an hour and a half. It was really funny because there was technical difficulties, and we thought we were going to lose the interview. And well, if you guys see the interview, you'll see it. You'll see what I'm talking about. So, yeah, it was really. He tells probably 4 stories in there that I think if those stories have never been told anywhere before, people are going to go nuts, absolutely nuts. So make sure you guys go check it out. It was a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah, and then on top of that, if you guys go check out the YouTube page, upcoming tomorrow on Wednesday, I'm going to be interviewing the president of CGC, Matt Nelson, to talk about foreign comics. We're going to have Matt, International Comics Josh, and Rob Fordham on with all 4 of us to talk foreign comic collecting. And CGC just recently announced a big push into foreign comic grading. And I believe for the first time anywhere, we're going to talk about CGC's recent announcement to grade VHS, which a lot of people are going, well, Clay, you're talking about VHS? Well, we got the scoop, baby. Why not?
Nice.
So go check it out.
Oh, Beardo.
Ooh. My one more thing this week is it is Motor City Comic Con week. Some people may have noticed and made some comments earlier that I wasn't on last night, kind of taking a creative break a little bit this week, worked through the weekend, worked some long hours, so taking a little bit more of a creative break this week, leading into traveling over to the east side of Michigan for that Motor City Comic Con, trying to get that creative bug to spark and get ready and to capture those emotions being back at that convention now. After last year, it was the first year back for them. This year, now we're back into that stride. Gonna be really exciting. Lots of great people showing up, and still kind of sad that CGC and CBCS are still not making any rounds. But a lot of the other people and artists and places are going to be there. It's going to be really cool. Looking forward to hopefully running into some Source Point press homies, some hometown Michigan team over there. But yeah, Double O, I'll be there the whole time. I think we're going to leave a little early on Sunday, but really looking forward to that. Running into like Double O, Peters Parker's Pants. There's a ton of community members that watch this show and watch a lot of the other channels that are from Michigan that we hope to run into over there. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Ryan.
Yep. Speaking of Michigan, I got to hang out with some relatives from Michigan this past weekend, and we went to the Astros and Detroit Lions game. Yep, it was a pretty good time, I'll tell you. So I still have not been approved on Whatnot for whatever reason, and I have been saving up books like signed Frank Cho's and a Venom like 1 in 100 books to sell, and so I'm going to do an auction on Rhinoverse off of Facebook to just kind of get moves in this product. I have just some old rare Venom books and whatnot and the Thor God of Thunder stuff, and I'm just ready to kind of get it out. I've been holding on to it for a while, and so go to Rhinoverse on Facebook, and I believe not this weekend, but next weekend I'll be holding an auction on there. It'll be a weekend-long auction, and it'll start on a Friday and it'll end on a Sunday. That's it.
Dan, what do you got for us?
All right, well, I guess this month is AAPI month, Asian American Pacific Islander month, Asian month, and I'm going to be just showing my films. I made 4 short films. I either I kind of wrote and directed them, one or the other or whatever, but I'm going to be showing those on my channel one at a time every week for the month. So the first one is called The Reading. It's a horror short about tarot reading. It's a horror comedy, though. So, and then a coming-of-age film called Millie, about like a woman in Brooklyn who realizes all her friends in her 20s are trash, like that time in your 20s when you realize that. A film called Sunny, about a relationship and their last fight before they break up forever, and then
Anybody?
a movie called Tongues about praying in tongues. It's like a horror short about praying in tongues.
Pentecostal movie?
Well, it's supposed to be like a longer feature actually, and it's this epic actually, but I made it into a short just sort of like kind of because I could or whatever. Yeah, and then just letting everyone know Quantum Leap is coming out, the reboot of Quantum Leap, and it's gonna star a Korean guy. So and he's looking for Scott Bakula because Scott Bakula he's still missing. So it's like they're rebooting the Quantum Leap program to find Scott Bakula, except it's gonna be this Asian guy, but it's not about being Asian. He just happens to be Asian, and that kind of makes sense, right? So anyway, yeah, that's cool, and that's cool. See, that's almost like having a lead Asian guy, not because he's Asian, is it's exciting for me. Yeah.
Right on. My last thing, or my one more thing. I'm just gonna say again, thanks each and every one of you guys for joining us every week. I always enjoy the live chat. I don't really have anything to present. I will say if you're looking for great comic book exclusives, check out channel sponsor at the616comics.com, as well as friend of the channel and crappy, shitty Dodgers fan, Drew Lewan at Wanted Comics. That's comics with an X, not a C. But they have great store exclusives up there and great sales. Drew, I know, has a bunch of great Star Wars books. But with that being said, guys, thanks again. Appreciate you guys watching the replay. Make sure you click that like button. And if you're new, click that subscribe button. With that being said, we will see you guys next week.
Look. They talking like they don't know a king when they see one. See him in person, he take it back like a refund. Ballin' with my brothers, all my playing D1. Daily checking chicken, he gon' spin it watching reruns. Say they real, but they clones of me.